All right, so we're going to start the recording. It is so nice to see you guys. Thank you so much for showing up and for the intro to Animal Reiki. And if you do have questions, you can ask them throughout. I'm going to leave everything open. There's only a handful of people who will be in this session, so you can ask questions at any time. And you can also put questions in the Q&A or in the chat if that's what you'd like to do. And I will be happy to address those too. And I'd love to know where you guys are. Excuse me, hang on a second. Quick drink of water. I'd love to know where you guys are chiming in from. So if you just put a little comment in what country. I know we have around the world. It's so cool. I'm so excited for this. What country, or if you're in the US, what state you're in. London. Hi, Amy. And what's the weather like in London? Uh-oh, we've lost her. We've lost the mic. Can everybody hear me okay? And there's Lumina from London.
Yep.
Okay, so I can hear Lumina. I just can't hear Amy now, so that's all right.
We can hear you okay.
There we go. Awesome. All right. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. And Kathy Andreyko from Downingtown, Pennsylvania. How cool. Oh, it is so nice to have you here. Thanks for joining us. All right, we're going to begin. And today we're going to be talking about Animal Reiki. A lot of you know, you've seen some of the things that I've done on social media. And a couple people who might jump on have been prior students. So we'll see if we get them on here or not. But I'd love to share with you what Animal Reiki is and what it means for you and what it means for your animals and what it can do to improve the quality of your life with your animals and deepen your connection with your animal companions. So I am going to start a quick PowerPoint. And don't worry, try to keep the PowerPoint really interesting. I hate death by PowerPoint. So our PowerPoints have lots of pictures, lots of time for interaction. And let's see if we can make that go. Here we go. All right, can you folks see that okay?
Yes.
All right, awesome, yep. Linda, thank you. So we're gonna start with this little PowerPoint about Animal Reiki and jump in at any time, as I said. But first, so Animal Reiki, it's all about heart-to-heart connection with animals. And I've got people texting me now, so hang on. Others are gonna try to jump on, so we'll just let them in as they arrive. Okay, Animal Reiki is about heart-to-heart connection with animals. And it's about when we make that heart-to-heart connection with animals, the healing that occurs both in our life and their life. And it's all done based on this heart-to-heart connection. And I'm going to explain a little bit about Reiki itself and then about Animal Reiki. So what are some of the things that I hope that you'll take away today? What Animal Reiki is and what it's not. The 5 Reiki Precepts. So these are just like the 5 foundation things of traditional Reiki. And then we're going to talk about the 6 pillars of the Let Animals Lead method of Animal Reiki. The Let Animals Lead method is the method of Reiki that was developed by my Animal Reiki master, Chaplain. And that is the method that I teach and that I practice. We're going to talk about why it's so cool to do Reiki with animals and what the benefit is of doing Reiki with animals and how to use it for yourself and how to use it for your animal companions. And I would hope that at the end, you'll feel a little bit more confident and peaceful having Animal Reiki as part of your life. And I'm going to give you some tips, some little tips and tricks that you can begin to practice with your animals at home. All right. So first, let me introduce myself. For those of you who may not know, my name is Elaine, and I reside in Colorado, USA. And hang on, I have to let some more participants in. There we go. Oh, Bridget is back. All right, so we're all good. Let's let that close and go away. So my name is Elaine, and I reside in the USA in Colorado. I live in Golden, Colorado, and I spent 35 years in corporate. I worked my way up the corporate ladder. I was a corporate HR executive. In fact, that's how the name, the Animal Reiki Lady, came about. They used to call me the HR Lady. For years and years and years, I was called the HR Lady. And when I made the decision to walk away from corporate life and pursue the life of my dreams, which is working with animals, one of my coworkers actually said to me, "That's okay, we're just going to start calling you the Animal Reiki Lady." And it stuck. It just stuck. So I put a couple pictures here of the animals that I've worked with, just a couple of the millions, hundreds, okay, thousands of animals that I've worked with. There's a picture in the donkey sanctuary in Eaton, Colorado. Donkeys love Reiki, by the way. I practiced formally in the UK, guys. So for those of you from the UK, I practiced at the Remus Horse Sanctuary in Essex. And there it was one of Kathleen's workshops. I spent a very long weekend there practicing with all of the farm animals at that sanctuary. And then also down in Florida, I've studied with exotics down at the Care Foundation in Florida. So why is that important? Because what you need to know is that Reiki works for all animals. We're going to talk about those 6 pillars of the Let Animals Lead method, and that includes that we don't initiate touch with an animal unless they initiate the touch with us. And there are some animals who we would not normally touch. That picture of me with a skunk, that happens to be a skunk who was rescued from a pet, was kept as a pet, but was not meant to be a pet, and was de-skunked, whatever, right? Descented. So that's how we got to hold the skunk. But most animals that are wild or exotic, we're not going to be able to touch, and we can still learn to practice Reiki with them. All right. So any questions so far? All good? If I could get the slide to advance, there we go. So I would like to begin, if you guys would just bear with me for a moment, I would love to begin our session with a meditation. It's an easy meditation. It won't take more than a couple of minutes, and it doesn't take you don't have to do anything. And in fact, if you're not in a space where you can meditate right now, it's only going to take 2 or 3 minutes. You don't have to do it. It's all fine. You can just listen along as we do something called a Hara meditation. And in the Japanese system, if you guys are familiar with chakras, chakras are what we have traditionally been taught through the Hindu system, and that's our energy centers that run up and down our body. Well, in the Japanese system, we practice only 3, and it's your head and your heart and your Hara. So our head, our heart, and our Hara. So our Hara is our core. So I'll just stand up a little bit. Our Hara is actually, if you want to locate the center of your Hara, it's about 1 inch down from your belly button. And so we're going to do a Hara meditation where we're going to pull all this positive energy in and then just let it expand through our Hara. And all you need to do is be in a place where you're comfortable. You're not going to have to lie down. Seated is fine. We're going to talk a little bit more about meditation and how meditation can be, it's any number of things, including art and dancing and writing and walking. There's all kinds of things that can get you into a meditative state of mind. But we're going to do the Hara meditation. So if you're in a place where you're comfortable, I just invite you to relax and to close your eyes and take a few deep breaths. And when I ask you to breathe in and breathe out and to take deep breaths, it's not anything uncomfortable or unnatural. Just allow your lungs to fully fill with that beautiful, blessed oxygen that every cell in your body loves. You're just going to take 2 or 3 deep breaths. And I'd like you to imagine that right above your head is a beautiful bright light. It's an amazing bright light. It's shining so warmly and comfortably right on the top of your head. And on your next in-breath, I invite you to pull that warmth right into your face, right into your head. Allow it to begin to relax all the muscles of your face. Breathe in and feel that warmth as it relaxes your forehead, as it relaxes your eyebrows. Let your cheeks relax. Release your tongue. Breathing in, allowing your jaw to relax. Let all of that warmth completely fill your head. And I invite you to bring your hands into prayer position. Prayer position is where we keep our hands together right near our heart. It's also known as Gasho. And on your next in-breath, I invite you to take that warmth and pull it deep into your heart. Let it begin to fill your heart so that your heart almost starts to swell. That warmth and that light that you're pulling in is pure positive love. Allow it to sit there in your heart space for just a few minutes. And now I invite you to take your hands and place them on your abdomen, about where you think your Hara might be. One hand on your abdomen and the other right on top of it. So one hand over the other. And breathing in again, deep breath. Draw that warmth from your heart down into your Hara. Allow that warmth to fill the core of your body. Let your whole being embrace the love. It's peaceful, it's comforting, it's calm. And let that begin to grow right in your core. Let it grow and grow. And very gently expand your hands and your arms away from your body. And allow that love to surround the entire area where you are. I like to imagine it as a little mist that begins to surround my body. I've pulled in all that warmth and all that love, and now I'm letting it expand out all around me. And in this space, I welcome you to invite any animal who is in your life that you would like to join our session today. Just in your mind, welcome them, invite them, ask them if they would like to spend a little time with you here in this space. And on your next in-breath, I want you to thank all the animals who we're going to talk about today. Thank the animals who may have come to join you. Thank the animals we're going to talk about. Thank the animals that may be in your future experience. Thank them for sharing a space with us and for sharing this time with us. And when you're ready, just gently begin to bring your focus back to your body. You can wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, roll your shoulders. Take a nice deep breath. And then you may open your eyes. Oh, I find that meditation so refreshing, so relaxing, so enjoyable. Just kind of sets the tone for the rest of everything that we're going to talk about, both Reiki and Animal Reiki. So we'll give everybody a second to kind of reconnect with us, and I'm going to move on to the next slide. And we're going to talk a little bit about Reiki. I'm not sure how familiar everybody is with Reiki. And if anybody has questions about Reiki in general, don't hesitate to drop something in the chat. I'm going to check that every once in a while to see what kind of chats we've got. But I have just a little bit of background about Reiki. Reiki is the Japanese system for stress reduction and relaxation. It was developed way back when, late 1800s, early 1900s, by a gentleman named Usui Mikao. He is the recognized founder of Reiki. And Reiki, the word itself is a Japanese word, and it means universal life energy, universal spirit, universal love. It is that love and spirit that permeates everything. It's everywhere, all around us, all the time. We, as human beings, tend to overthink things, and so we kind of block it, and that's kind of a little bit what we're going to talk about today. But Reiki, then, in general, is life energy, universal love. It is a spiritual practice. It's about energy work, and it's about meditation and mindfulness. We're going to talk about the dreaded M word because people get freaked out by the word meditation. I don't know how to meditate. I don't understand. It never works for me. We're going to work through that, hopefully, to get you to a place where you don't mind meditating. For humans, it was about hands-on healing. It is about hands-on healing. We do a practice. It's based in meditation, but we place our hands on certain parts of the body that helps us rebalance, it helps us relax, it helps us align all of our energy centers, and that results in reducing stress. We reduce stress, we become relaxed, and then our body can rebalance and do what it normally, naturally knows how to do, which is heal and be healthy. Reiki it's been traditionally recognized as a practice in the Eastern cultures. It's only in recent history that it's come to the West, and very recently, it has now become part of our healthcare system. So the National Institute for Health has funded many studies now over Reiki, and about 14% of registered hospitals incorporate Reiki as a complementary form of healing. So for cancer patients, they do it in addition to whatever traditional medical treatment they're getting. That includes the Mayo Clinic and the Cleveland Clinic. I can't think of the actual name for that, but with Animal Reiki, we are just scratching the surface. Veterinarians are just beginning to incorporate this type of healing modality as a support to their traditional medicine and veterinary care. And we'll talk a little bit more about that too. All right, the Reiki Precepts. These are the 5 main principles that guide us when we practice Reiki. And even if you've never used the word Reiki, these precepts, as they're called, can make such an amazing shift in your life if you just said them to yourself every morning when you wake up, because we focus just on today. We don't care what happened yesterday. That's in the past. It's all done. We do not need to look forward to the future. All we need to think about is right here, right now. And every morning I say this to myself. And since I have begun doing these, I do it as part of my morning Reiki practice with my animals. I just say these to myself, and it sets the tone for my day. And so they are just for today, just for today. Do not anger, do not worry, be grateful, be honest and true to your work, and be compassionate to yourself and all living things. And how wonderful the world would be if we all could remember every single day that we don't need to get angry. Worry doesn't do us any good. We are so grateful for everything we have. We are true to ourselves, and we are compassionate to ourselves, because we can't love anybody else or anything else until we first love ourselves. And that's the way that I look at the Reiki Precepts. And the Reiki Precepts are the foundation of when we practice with animals, because when we can set this tone with ourselves, it opens up a whole new connection when we begin to work with animals. So what's Animal Reiki? That's what you guys are all here for. You want to know, what is it? And Animal Reiki I call it's a gentle, non-invasive method of helping animals rebalance. So just like I explained for human beings, animals also get stressed. They go through illness, they go through injury, they might be terminally ill, they might have been abandoned, abused, neglected. They could be in captivity, it could be wildlife. But using the system of Reiki allows them to naturally tap into their ability to heal. So when we can help them release the stress and release the anxiety and the trauma, then they also have that ability to let their body do what it naturally does. So these are some of the things. I follow the very specific method, as I mentioned. The Let Animals Lead method was developed by Kathleen Prasad, Animal Reiki Source. And we have found that it can really assist animals not only with stress reduction, but reducing anxiety and trauma. And when we can do that, it helps release the pain. It helps promote the healing. And that comfort we're going to talk a little bit more about this too, that comfort that they need during terminal illness and aging, when their body turns on them, when they are confused, when they don't understand the pain, when their mind gets a little foggy, Reiki can help all of those things. And one of the most important things to remember is that it can do no harm. Reiki is pure positive love. It's that universal love. It's that energy that surrounds everything. We can't overdo it, and we just share it with our animals, and it cannot do them any harm. This is the great thing that I love about Animal Reiki, is that you do not need to know what's wrong with the animal that you're working with. We don't need to know the problem for Reiki to do its work. Reiki is universal energy. All we are doing is opening the space for it to do what it knows to do. Reiki goes where Reiki knows. All right. Questions so far while I bring up this picture of the alligator? You guys are all good? Anybody want to give me a thumbs up? I can't see anybody, so you can't give me a thumbs up. Okay, never mind. So I showed this picture of the alligator for a very specific reason. The alligator is because all animals, hang on, I've got some, I think I've got some chat questions coming in. Let's just check that real quick. Come on, little guy. We've got a lot. Okay, here we go. So, oh, good. I'm so glad you enjoyed that, Lumina. We were talking about the meditation. Everybody's good. All right. Nice little temperature check there to make sure we're doing okay. I include the picture of the alligator because I like to show that every single animal benefits from Reiki. Every single human being and every single animal. And that includes every single living thing. When I tell my students when they work with me, don't be surprised when the spiders start showing up in your life, because everybody just wants to be loved, and that includes our little gators. So Reiki is that universal life force. It flows through all things. It connects with light and love and compassion and peace. It is spirit, it is soul, and you can call it anything you choose to. It can be called God, Spirit, Allah, Buddha, Krishna. All of it is the same. It's that universal sense of love that surrounds all of us. So the 6 pillars. These are the 6 most important things that we teach when we teach the Let Animals Lead method of Animal Reiki, and when we practice the Let Animals Lead method of Animal Reiki. It's based in the traditional Japanese Reiki techniques. So we kind of went over that in general, not the techniques, but the philosophy of it. It's based in Japanese Reiki. This is one of the most important things, that touch is only used when animals seek it out. So humans, we're very comforted by touch. When I have my Reiki table out and I'm practicing on a human, on a person, they're very comforted by that touch, by that sensation. They can feel the energy in the fingertips. They feel that calming sensation, and it's very calming to them and peaceful. Animals, on the other hand, as I mentioned, the majority of animals do not initiate touch. Animals that share our home with us, that share our space with us, dogs and cats and even horses, and I found donkeys also to be very receptive to touch, but we let them initiate the touch. I will go into a meditation just like the Hara meditation. It quiets my mind. Why? Because when we quiet our mind, that connection becomes greater. We quiet our mind, and I call it opening my heart, and that's just letting the love in. I let the love in, and then I let the love out. And when we do that, our animals respond so quickly. They're natural meditators. They respond very quickly, and the ones who share our space with us are the ones most frequently that will permit touch. Otherwise, we don't use touch unless they initiate it. And when you experience it, a lot of times, I've experienced this with horses, they'll place their body where they want your hands to be. You don't have to do any of the work. They have a very strong connection to this. So we only touch when animals seek it out. We also focus on animals as being perfect just as they are. All is well. I'm going to show you a couple pictures in a few minutes of some of the medical fosters that I've worked with. One was an amputee, had his left leg removed. In my meditation, I picture him always as perfect. I don't ever think that there's anything that needs to be fixed. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with him. When we talk about behaviors with animals, most animals do behave in a way that is perfectly natural to them. Their behavior may be something not pleasant to us. There's a giant truck parking right outside my window. All right, guys, fingers crossed that he doesn't stay there for too long. That's what you get when we're doing live webinars. That's okay, we roll with it. So we focus them on perfect. In my mind, I always picture them as perfect just the way they are. We don't focus on something that needs to be fixed, air quotes there. And that also allows their stress to relax. When we're not going, oh, poor baby, your arm, you must be in so much pain. They sense that, they feel it. They're very sensitive to our reaction to them. So if we focus on them as perfect just as they are, it helps the healing and it helps them rebalance so much better. We teach meditation. Meditation is a state of mind. Meditation, the M word, we'll talk about that in a second. The meditation, people think about meditation, they think of a guru or a hermit sitting in a cave on a pillow going, oh. That can be meditation, but it doesn't have to be meditation. Meditation takes all forms. Anything that helps you quiet your mind, focus, become consciously aware, that is meditation. It takes all types of forms. It can be walking, it can be sitting, it can be lying down, it can be sitting with your animal, it can be taking a walk with your animal, it can just be walking in nature. It can be journaling, it can be coloring. There are so many ways that we can meditate to create that state of mind that we want in order to connect with our animals. It's also something that we practice with our animals. It's not anything we do to them. That healing, even healing is a loaded word. It is about sharing a space with them, reminding them who they are, reminding them what their body is capable of, and letting them do what they naturally do. So we do it with them. It's shared with them. It's not given to them. It's not a practice a therapy done to them. It's something that we do together. It also honors each animal as their own teacher and healer in their own right. I have come to learn that the animals that share this planet with are sometimes, if not more often than not, more on the ball than we are. They understand and they have so much to share. And when you go into meditation and open that space, when they share that space of love with you, you walk away healed as much as they walk away healed. It's a mutual experience that is one of the most beautiful experiences of my life. And I'll give you a few examples in just a minute. Okay, the M word. The M word stands for meditation. When we say meditation, the most pushback that I get about meditation is, I don't have time, I don't know how, I can't turn my thoughts off, my mind never stops, it doesn't work for me. All of those come up as the reasons why people don't practice meditation. And when we teach the Let Animals Lead method, first of all, animals are great meditators. And if you try practicing meditation with your animal, they'll help you get to where you need to be. But you can also, if dance is your form of meditation, I encourage everybody to do that thing. It could be running, to do that thing where you get in the zone. When you're in the zone, you're meditating. We do very specific meditations all the time. With the Let Animals Lead method, there are so many meditations. In fact, there's a book I'm going to recommend at the end of the webinar with a variety of meditations in it that help you practice meditation. There are so many different ways to meditate, but why are we focused on meditation? It's because when we can quiet that noise, the connection grows stronger. When we can cut out all the chatter, even now, I guarantee you, just about everybody watching this live webinar has something going on in the back of their brain. Did I unplug the curling iron? Is my husband going to pick up the milk? All of these things. Does the dog need to be let out? Did I turn my phone on silent? I just thought of that. See, there's constant chatter that goes on in our mind. And when we can try and quiet that noise, our connection with the animals who share this planet becomes so much stronger. And I believe also, I've learned this from experience, in the silence, we find our compassion. Compassion is even deeper than love. Compassion is the strongest word I know to express the love that I feel with the animals that I work with. And I work with all kinds of animals, domestic animals. I work with pets. I work with farm animals. I work with wildlife. I work with animals who are in captivity, animals in shelters. And when we go into the silence, we can find that compassion. Okay, so I want to give you some examples. How does this apply to you and your animals, right? We really want to know, how does this work for me? There's a couple ways. Our animals suffer from illness and injury. Our animals suffer from aging and terminal illness, just like people. They have behavior issues, just like people. They could be in captivity. It could be injured wildlife. There's any number of ways that our animals experience pain, anxiety, and trauma. So a little bit of this is about aging pets. I put two pictures here. I love the picture on the left. I think it's on your left, which is one of my clients, Adrian, and that's the beautiful Jake right there. And she asked me to be with them on their last day. So Jake had was suffering from advanced kidney disease, and between Adrian and Jake and the veterinarian, one of the most important things to remember is that we always work in conjunction with veterinary care. Traditional medical care has a very important place in the care of our animals, and Reiki is a supportive method. It is a way of, it's like a collaborative, supportive, there's another word that I'm missing, that we work in conjunction with medical care. And so that was Adrienne on her last day, and we made Jake's last day so beautiful. She opened that space of love. She opened the space of compassion. We were there together with him, and it turned what could have been, and what usually is, a very sad, traumatic, and grief-filled time. It's making me a little emotional now even, into one of peace and love and compassion. And there was just so much love flowing through that whole environment that day. Look at the smile on her face. I couldn't quite capture the smile on Jake's face, but it opened a space of peace for an animal who was about to pass. And then on the other side is me and one of my clients. That's Vegas. Vegas was suffering from cancer. He was terminally ill. And so we did lots of sessions with Vegas up until the day that he crossed over to the Rainbow Bridge. So that's one of the ways that you can do this with your animals. And I'm going to show you this right now. It's a very, very simple thing to do. Think about what we just did with the Hara meditation. If you want to work with your animal in any capacity, whether it was because of a behavior issue, or maybe they have to take a vet visit and they always stress when it's time to go to the vet. They could be suffering from terminal illness or aging, or perhaps ready to transition. The way that you work with them is very easy. Find a place to quiet your mind. And when your animal's in that kind of condition, I think we can usually find that space to quiet our mind and let go of our own worry, let go of our own guilt, let go of any of that self-recrimination that we carry. Just let that all float away by quieting our mind. We invite and welcome our animal to join us. So we say, please, just as we did with the Hara meditation, we invite you to join us in this space. We've opened a space of love. Just come sit here with me. Come be here with me. We always ask permission because we allow animals to express their preference. We recognize that animals are sentient beings. So your animal may get up and leave the room. That's perfectly fine. It doesn't mean that anything is wrong. It doesn't mean that you're doing anything wrong, because Reiki can't be done wrong. You can't mess it up by sneezing or having to open your eyes or whatever. It doesn't matter. You cannot get it wrong. You ask permission. You allow the animal to express their preference. So if they don't choose to sit with you, we just let it go. We relax and we allow. We allow Reiki to do what Reiki knows how to do. Reiki will go wherever the problem may be. We don't have to know it. We just let it go, and we let Reiki flow, and we let the love flow. We open that space of compassion, and therein lies the healing. And that is all you need to do. And at the end of everything, I do the same thing. I express gratitude. I express gratitude for the love. I express gratitude for my animal. Depending on how much time I may have spent with that animal or what's been going on, I'm just grateful for everything that they've taught me. I'm grateful for being able to spend time with them. I personally express gratitude that I'm able to spend my life this way, that they opened the doors for me, because honestly, that's exactly what happened. When I made the decision to walk away from corporate, it's like the animal saw a little crack in the door and just shoved it wide open, because ever since that day, sorry, even now that makes me a little emotional to think about it. Ever since that day, animals have been in my life every single day. It's been amazing. So that's how you can do it. Those little steps right there are how you can share Reiki with your animal companion. And I want to show you some examples of people who do this. So equine Reiki therapy. When we share Reiki with horses, horses are absolutely magical. And in my experience, horses just love Reiki. It's like they're a natural conduit for that love. And I want to show you a couple pictures. If you look at this young lady in the wearing the white shirt over here on the left with the two horses, she is learning Reiki and had not been near a horse since a childhood injury. She was injured by a horse when she was a child and refused to go near the horses anymore. And she wanted to rekindle that connection with horses, and she's using Reiki to do that. So for her, it's all about reestablishing her relationship with horses. And I don't know if you can see the smile on her face, but the horses were incredibly responsive. That's one of the stables where I teach animal Reiki. And then in the middle is the girl in the blue shirt is somebody else who's also learning to share, was healing, was doing some personal healing after a trauma, doing some personal healing, and that's the beautiful Roper, who is also a magical horse. And then we have, this is Sueño. So if any of you guys ever want to come to Florida and practice with me at the 3 Sevens Animal Sanctuary, that is down in Parkland, Florida, you will visit the Magic Sueño. Sueño, I swear there should be a little horn sticking out the top of his head. He is a unicorn. Don't know why Sueño is a she, yes. Don't know why she does not have that horn sticking right out of her head, because you can see it. I can just see that unicorn thing, her unicornness right there, her magic. She is a rescued Mustang. She resides in Florida with another rescued Mustang. They were rescued from here well, I think they were actually rescued from Nevada, but we have a so many Mustangs that are destroyed every year, wild horse population. But I know where 2 of them have been saved, and they're amazing animals to work with, and they're amazing healers and amazing teachers. So if you ever want to do deeper connection with horses, please let me know, because I know horse sanctuaries all around the world. And I wanted to show you this quote from Kathleen Prasad. It is easy for anyone to learn and use Reiki. I teach Reiki. I'm going to show you in a second. I teach all 3 levels of Reiki. Level 1 is where we learn the basics. Level 2 is where we learn the more advanced techniques and how to do distance Reiki. Level 3 is where you become a master teacher. But anybody can use Reiki. Right now, if you would just do me a favor for a second and put your hands together, not like you were going to be in prayer position, but just bring your focus to your hands, hold them about 1 inch or so apart from each other, and just focus on that space between your hands. And now pull your hands apart a little bit. And can you feel the space between your hands? There's a sensation there. It's like almost like the air has mass to it, that you can feel it. Anybody can do Reiki. It is about tapping into universal energy that is there for everyone. Do we need to relearn how to make that connection? That's probably the primary thing that I teach, is how to remind ourselves what is natural for everybody. It can do no harm. Even when used by the most novice practitioner, you can't get it wrong. And it always goes to the deepest source of the problem. So you don't have to know what the issue is in order for Reiki to support the way that it does and to create that balance and harmony. So here's a few more pictures. One of the great ways for sharing Reiki, so if you'd like to just try, if you'd like to get out there and feel what it's like to share Reiki, going to a shelter or rescue is really, really an interesting experience. Now in the US, a lot of the shelters are closed. They still have animals, but they're closed to the public because of all the stuff going on. But we're working through that, right? This is only a temporary blip in the radar. But here's some shelter animals. And the woman in the center was also one of my private clients. I teach a lot of private students now, since we're not doing really too many group classes. That was in a cat, she volunteered at a cat animal shelter. So she was in the cat room there sharing, she was doing self-Reiki. That's we teach self-Reiki. So how do you rebalance your own energy when you need it? And shelter workers frequently need to rebalance their energy. It can become a stressful environment. And we have some cats and some dogs. That's me, that's my leg down there in the blue jeans, with 2 pit bulls who refused to be touched. Once we started sharing Reiki with them, they were totally open to touch, to the point of laying down right across my legs when I was going to share Reiki with them. Let animals lead. And then animals in captivity. This is a sensitive subject for a lot of people. I put that picture there of the bear with his hands up like this. We've got the tiger, we've got the monkey. That was at a little private zoo that I was at down in Texas, where I was able to feed the flamingos. Animals in captivity trigger people. The fact that animals cannot be free, the fact that the animals are in a very small enclosure, that they don't have their freedom, that they're there for our entertainment. It's an environment where it triggers people. So what I like to do with Reiki, I do this for all of my private students, get at least 1 trip to the zoo, because I like to show them that what we do is see the animal as perfect just the way they are. We don't pity them. We don't say, oh, poor thing, you're stuck in that cage. I wish there was something I could do to free you. Well, since there's not anything you can do to free them, what you can do is remind them that they're loved, they're safe, they're caretakers want only the best for them, and that you are there to share, that you recognize them as sentient beings, and you're there to share the space of love with them. It shifts everything, everything. When we go to the zoo, it's a whole different experience. I can't even explain it. And I'm certain 100% that there are animals at the zoo, I use the Denver Zoo in particular, where I go frequently, that there are animals at the zoo who recognize me. And I don't go there for entertainment, and I don't go there to pity them. I go there to show them love. And hang on a quick second, I'm going to open the chat. This is so interesting, no pity. I have a question too from Lumina. Would you say that animals need to trust before touch, especially rescued animals? Yeah, that's a great point, Lumina. What we're doing when we open that space of love is also helping to establish trust. And when that trust is established is when, like the two dogs that came to lay on my lap, yeah, they began to recognize, by opening the space of compassion and love, they began to recognize that I was not there to harm them, that I loved them, that the people, we also talked about all of the shelter workers. They are so devoted to the care of their animals. And when we share that with the love that we open with Reiki, we begin to develop that trust. Then there are other animals, wildlife, that are not ever going to come to, I mean, even though I've had some pretty cool experiences with wildlife coming right up to me, that's not the usual thing. We typically must respect wildlife and the conditions and the places where they live. We're the ones who are encroaching on their environment, not vice versa. And so wildlife are not ever going to be touched, no matter how much trust we put in them. Most of them are not going to let you touch them. But animals in captivity, of course, we can't touch. But to let them know that they're loved, it shifts everything. It shifts your whole experience when you go to the zoo, because you're making a positive difference in their life. And then with your own animals. So I wanted to show you a couple pictures here. There are a couple different pictures. On the left, that's with veterinary care. So I wanted to demonstrate that even with Reiki, we always work in conjunction with veterinary care. So that was Jake after he had his his surgery on his left front leg. So he got Reiki several times a day, which really advanced his healing. And then we had a person who would come to the home to care for him. And then in the middle, there's one of my very, very first clients who was practicing Reiki with her dog, and the two of them just loved meditation together. They were totally into the whole meditation thing, so they really, really enjoyed that space. And then cats are equally as responsive to Reiki. They just respond in different ways. Frequently, dogs will come cuddle you. Cats, not always, but that doesn't mean that they're not open. Some of my most amazing clients are cats, distance clients even. They love that. They are, what's the word that I want to say? Not responsive, but open, and the word is gone. But there's an old wives' tale that it was actually cats who brought us Reiki. So every once in a while when I'm practicing Reiki with an animal, so down in the corner is Prince Charming. He's the one in the bottom corner with that yellow cup there. I swear they tell me, yeah, I got this. I'm good, but if you'd like to meditate with me, that's cool. Dogs, on the other hand, usually cuddle. And then up in this the top right-hand corner, that's Zoe. Zoe right there, even though she looks like she's posing, that was actually head tilt after a stroke. Completely gone. I don't have a current picture of Zoe to show that head tilt gone, but between veterinary care and Reiki, she recovered from her stroke fully. Just was a full, complete recovery from her stroke. So if you'd like to learn Animal Reiki, I kind of already mentioned that there's 3 certification levels. We teach the basics. So if you really wanted to get into it, absolutely, you can practice it on your own. But if you wanted to learn more about it and understand all the techniques that we use, I've shown some pictures here. These are a couple of the different classes that I've held. We learn self-Reiki. We learn Reiki with companions so that we can help the person and the animal rebalance. We do Reiki with farm animals. There's a picture at the zoo. If you see the Meditate shirt, the Sarah shirt there, the Shelter Animal Reiki Association, which was also established by Kathleen Prasad. There's one of my students sharing Reiki with an elephant at the Denver Zoo. Bunch of girls after we did one of our group training classes, which I hope will resume in 2021. But in the meantime, one of the reasons that I'm doing this webinar is that we are, for 2021, fingers crossed, creating an online program that will help you guys if you want to learn online, and you would then go out on your own and practice with animals. And then the goat who loved, I'm just going to move, I have a little something there. So the goat who just loved Reiki so much that she jumped right on their lap. So what I hope you were able to gain from this is to understand what Reiki is, understand what Animal Reiki is. I wanted to share the 5 precepts with you, and even if you just pick one to take away from here today. For me, it's do not worry. Worry is, I find, to be so useless because we can't change anything with it. All it does is cause havoc and stress on our body. Pick one of the Reiki precepts and just think about it in the morning when you first wake up. the 6 pillars of the Let Animals Lead method, why it's great for animals, how you can use Reiki with animals and yourself, and hopefully make you feel confident, help you feel confident incorporating Reiki into your life. So these are some of the books that I wanted to recommend. I put some contact information there for me, so if you wanted to send me an email, feel free. You can always reach me on Facebook and Instagram. I'm all over social media. I have just now really started concentrating on my YouTube channel. But if you want to get in touch with me or view any of the things that I talk about, post about, all on Facebook and Instagram, you can follow me at the Animal Reiki Lady. And these are some of the books written by Kathleen Prasad. I just love the way she puts a lot of these things into perspective. And I haven't written my own book yet, so I recommend these. The Let Animals Lead, the pink one right there in the middle, is the meditations. So it's a 21-day guide for meditation. Amazing. Everything Animal Reiki, that would probably be my second best recommendation if there was anything special you wanted to learn. Otherwise, she has a book for dogs, a book for cats, a book for horses. But these two are my two favorites right here. The Meditation Challenge and the Everything Animal Reiki. All right, so let's just open this up for any questions. Does anybody have anything they want to ask? Any specific things going on with your animals? Anything you want to know about Animal Reiki? Excuse me while I take another drink. Nope, so useful. Thanks, Amy. I appreciate that. Never thought about mindset in a zoo. I know. And not only that, but I get so many people who say, no, I'll never go to the zoo. Well, I think of all the animals on our planet that need our help with Reiki, it might be animals in the zoo because they have no place else to go, but we can go to them. And I never understood the connection between animals and Reiki. I think we're missing a word there, but I absolutely understand it now. Yeah, it's a huge connection. Reiki is, and I talk about this a lot too, and it's a whole topic for another day. I'm sorry, I saw the comment about the raspberry noise. It's making me laugh. This is a comment for another day, but this awakening that's going on around the world, it's animals too. It's not just people. And Reiki is just such an amazing way to really, really make that deep connection with our animals. And if you've ever wanted that, I just talked yesterday with somebody who was saying, I always wanted to be Snow White, like watching Snow White and seeing all those animals come up to her and be around her. I think we all wanted to be. I mean, there's a reason why Snow White was even, like, somebody even thought it up, because we just love the idea of making that sneak peek behind the curtain, making that connection with our animals. So Bridget says that her rescue is afraid of a raspberry noise. So I don't know. I don't have an answer for that right off the top of my head, Bridget, but it would be a nice thing to remind her that she doesn't have to be afraid, he or she doesn't have to be afraid of any noises. When you go into meditation, just open that space and share Reiki and see how it goes. Look, I heard somebody. Are there noises we should stay away from? I don't know. I'm thinking that different animals respond to different noises. I know that there are sounds that calm animals. I'm sure that there are noises that are naturally frightening to them. I was just reading about the elephants and the bees, that elephants are scared to death of bees, and even the smallest buzzing sound sets off elephants. But I don't know too much about the raspberry noise, but I can look into that further for you, Bridget. You and I are connected in lots of other places. Kathy said, this was a really good webinar to give me better. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much, Kathy. I'm glad you enjoyed it. And Lumina, I get that suffering feeling from circus animals. One of my very first experiences, Lumina, was with a circus animal. I worked at a facility that hosted a circus, and I worked behind the house, or back of the house is what it was called. And I witnessed some of the things that went on in the back of the circus, including a hippo that was stuck in a wading pool with a chain around its ankle. That's the kind of thing that in the past would have broken my heart. At that moment in time, it did. That's the kind of thing that absolutely hurts me. It's a suffering feeling. Completely agree. We can use Reiki to relieve that suffering. We can use Reiki when you open a space of peace and love and compassion. You can use it to relieve your own sense of suffering as well as the animal sense of suffering, We focus on them as perfect, just the way they are. All right, guys, I think that about wraps it up. We're about to hit the 1 hour mark. If there's no other questions, if there is, just go ahead and pop them in there. Otherwise, you know how to reach me. If there's any questions that perhaps you didn't want to ask in the chat or didn't want to ask out loud and you would like to contact me privately, please feel free to do so. You can send me a private message, a direct message, or send me an email. And I hope you guys have an amazing, you are so welcome. Have an amazing morning, afternoon, night, evening, wherever you happen to be in the world. Sending you so much love from myself and every animal in the whole wide universe. And I will talk to you again soon. Take care. Bye.